3, 2, 1. Hey people, people of the internet, welcome to my home studio. More like my home mess, I guess. But yeah, this is the home studio, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of film. This is my little film fridge, and then I've got some extras here. But yeah, welcome to #filmstock tryouts. I think it's out of focus. There we go, filmstock tryouts. And yeah, if you're new here, my name's Darren, and what this is me trying to make my way through all the film I can find. I live in China, and that affords me the great opportunity where I have a world of film stocks available to me. We have this thing called Taobao, which is basically like eBay and Amazon combined, and just 400 million times bigger. And yeah, you can find pretty much anything on Taobao. So I search for a whole bunch of film, and all the film that I can find, and yeah, try it out. So I was actually consolidating today, and I've bought 64 different rolls of film so far, and I've shot 33. So yeah, and this is only the 11th video for filmstock tryouts, so I've still got a way to go. So anyway, what am I talking about today? What did I shoot, and what am I going to share? And yeah, let me share that with you. Just the world's best boss. Got my rooibos here, living it up, South Africa style. World's healthiest tea. Anyway, random fact. Also, this is my wife's cup. She's the world's best boss, but I stole it. Yeah. Okay, what are we talking about today? Enough rambling on. Let's talk about cine style. There we go. Nice and focus. Cine style 250D or 5203 50D. So what this is actually a Chinese company that has taken Kodak Vision3 Cinefilm and just basically respooled it. Some places remove the remjet layer, some companies, which then the remjet layer protects against halation. But if you remove it, then you get quite a bit of halation, and I think that's what 800, like Cinestill 800 is removed the remjet layer. Also, if I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comments. That's really helpful. But yeah, if I can remember correctly, removing the remjet layer produces halations. The remjet layer protects against halation. So yeah, this has the remjet layer in. It's just cinema film that has been respooled into 36 exposures so that we can shoot photography with it. So yeah, this is a cine style. Okay, enough. I'm taking really long with this. So yeah, it's a beautifully warm stock, very reminiscent of Kodak Gold, or maybe even Portra, with how warm it is, and the beautiful golden tones that it produces. It is daylight balanced, so obviously it does better in outdoor scenes, and that's what it's made for. It can also do indoor well-lit scenes, but it does need to be color balanced in, I guess, in post. And yeah, that's all most likely due to it being repurposed Kodak 5203 Cinefilm. So that's the Vision3. There's a whole range, and it requires ECN2 processing. So the recommended ISO by the Chinese company who respooled it is 400 ISO, which is a bit high. I shot it at 50 because I'm a clown and because I didn't do the correct research. I just kind of thought that 50D means that it's 50 ISO. But yeah, anyway, it turned out to be good, because the results came out really nicely, and I'd maybe recommend shooting it at 100 or maybe 150 just to get a bit more use of the highlight latitude. Kodak Vision3, particularly 5203, is known for its highlight latitude. It has really good exposure latitude, particularly in the highlights. And I think that being cinema film, it kind of has to, because they're shooting movies on it. So that's what they want the latitude for. And then if you follow me on Instagram or Threads, you might see that I share these little things. And what that is kind of like my 4-point breakdown of the film. And then I also have I'll share my thoughts. Is it going to get focus here? There we go. Not really, but okay. So yeah, I share that, put it up on my Instagram, and then I share in my stories, and then I also add some of the shots that I've taken on it. So let me do my 4-point breakdown of this. So for exposure latitude, I gave it 3 irises, which the exposure latitude is broad, but not overly broad. Shadows don't tend to go, or the width of the shadows isn't all that great, but obviously the highlights are a lot better. So yeah, exposure latitude maybe a bit 1 stop under, maybe 1.5 to 2 stops over. If you have a lot of highlights, then obviously going over the highlights might be retained. Sharpness, it is a very sharp film. I think it being cinema film, it kind of has to be sharp for the moving pictures. And yeah, it's very, very sharp with a great clarity. I really like the clarity, and actually coming back to look at my shots from this film, because I shot it a while back, but looking at the shots, I actually really, really enjoy the sharpness and clarity of it. And then yeah, the contrast, it's not overly contrasty. It does produce beautiful results, and the highlights and shadows are distinct from one another, but not too much so, and I enjoy that. I do like a bit more contrast in my images, although in color I think holding back on the contrast is a beautiful thing too, and produces a nice look, and that's what this film has. It does, like I said before, seem reminiscent of Kodak Gold or Portra. It is a warm film stock, and it has a beautiful warm tone and color cast throughout it, or not color cast, but like color temperature. And then grain, it's a very fine grain film, and I think that if I shot it at 400 like recommended, it might produce a bit more grain across the images. But yeah, the grain is actually quite fine, and Vision3 is known to have a super fine grain. So yeah, that's kind of my 4 points on the film. I really, really enjoyed the results that I got from it. I love the warmth of it, and yeah, I shot it in my Canon, my new, it's just the Canon new F1 with this lens, the 50mm lens, and I think I got through most of the roll in a day, and then it was developed, the ECN2 process, it was developed by the lab here in Wuxi. Yeah, they did a really good job. He does a good job of just getting decent results. He also scanned it on a Nikon, no, I can't remember, 5000, something 5000, the Nikon 5000. And yeah, I got TIFFs. He sent me TIFF files, and then I edited it in Lightroom, and I didn't need to use Negative Lab Pro because I got TIFF files. I think I could have, but I didn't have to. And yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on this Cine Style 50D. I don't know if this exact one is available outside of China, but I do know that Vision3 Film repurposed for shooting photography 35mm is, I think, quite widely available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find some on Amazon, and I'm going to link it in the description. You guys can maybe go buy some if you haven't. It's not something fairly new. So yeah, if you have shot 5203 Kodak Vision3, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it and maybe what your experience is. And then yeah, also let me see them, share them with me on Instagram or Threads. My handle is @Darren A Fielding, and I'll put it here for you as well. And then yeah, just last thing that I like to do is community highlights, just sharing, highlighting some people that I come across social media or IRL, where they make stuff that inspires me and encourages me and that I find enjoyable. And that person today is actually someone from Hangzhou, which is like my adopted hometown, and his Instagram handle is Chiba_877, CHIBA_877. Yeah, a phenomenal photographer and prolific as well. Goes out like all the time, every day goes out shooting. And I asked him some questions that I'm going to read out to you now, and I'll read out his response, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, Chiba_877. So I asked him, where are you from? He's from Hangzhou, China. And then I asked him, when did you get started with photography and why? And then he responded, he started taking photographs very early, mostly just travel notes, like just documenting his travels. But then in July 2020, he swept the streets for the first time, and that's like a slang term here in China. Street sweeping is the nickname or slang for street photography. So he swept the streets, he went street sweeping with his friend and became obsessed in July 2020, and he's been taking on street photos for 2 years now, or actually 3 going on 4, because it's 2024. He loves shooting in Hangzhou, which is his home, and more precisely Westlake, which I really loved as well. If you take a look on my Instagram, you'll see there's a whole bunch. I loved Westlake. He loves street photography and the joy of ordinary people's moments and the narratives of real world scenes. So if you take a look at his feed, you'll notice a lot of that as well, and he really does take really cool photos, just capturing people's lives. And it's just something authentically beautiful about that. You can find him on social media, on Instagram. I think he also does have Threads, the same handle. So Chiba_877. And who influences him? So it was his friend who took him street sweeping. That's Jesse_Zoo with 3 O's. And then Alex Webb, Harry Grier, Saul Leiter, David Allen Harver, Stephen Shaw, William Klein, Tatsuya Suzuki, and Mark Cohen. So some of the masters. And yeah, I'll share some of his images. I have been sharing some of his images for you guys to see as well. So check out Chiba_877. And yeah, let's continue with community. That's one of the great things about social media and the internet, is that even across the world we can discover and be inspired and encouraged by one another. And yeah, I hope you are encouraged and inspired by this. The secret phrase for this week's video is simple. It's how you say hello in Mandarin Chinese. Ni hao. I'll put it on the screen and you can just copy that, and you can add in from and then where you're from. So ni hao, I would say ni hao from Wuxi. So you can write ni hao from and where you're from, your city or town. And that'll be pretty cool, and I'll know that you made it to the end of the video. So yeah, anyway, filmstock tryouts. Just keep making stuff and be blessed. Thank you so much for watching. See ya.